300,000 years ago, while early humans fled south during brutal ice ages, Neanderthals not only survived European winters that would kill us within hours, they thrived, developing technologies and social structures that scientists are still uncovering today. How did these ancient relatives master survival techniques so effective that their DNA still flows through many of us, protecting us from harsh conditions we no longer face? A single footprint preserved in ancient mud tells us a remarkable story. This isn't just any footprint. It belongs to a Neanderthal child who walked this exact spot nearly 80,000 years ago when Europe was locked in the grip of a brutal ice age. The small impression shows 5 perfect toes pressed into what was once soft ground during a rare warm day, now frozen in time like a whisper from the past. Around this footprint, the remains of a hearth fire, stone tools, and animal bones paint a picture of survival against impossible odds. These ancient humans faced winters that would kill us within hours. Imagine standing in a forest as temperatures drop to 30 degrees below freezing. Your breath turns to ice crystals. The wind cuts through any clothing you wear. Every exposed piece of skin burns with cold, then goes numb, a dangerous sign. For modern humans without special gear, death would come before morning. Yet Neanderthals survived these conditions for over 300,000 years. The secret wasn't just luck. Neanderthals had bodies built for cold, short, wide frames that held heat better than our tall, thin bodies. Their noses were larger inside, warming freezing air before it reached their lungs. Their muscles were denser, generating more heat with every movement. These weren't primitive humans. They were cold weather specialists perfectly adapted to the harshest environment in Europe. Fire marked the difference between life and death. In caves across Europe, layers of ash tell us Neanderthals kept flames burning constantly. They understood that losing fire during winter meant certain death. They gathered around these flames not just for warmth, but for light, for cooking, and for protection from the dangerous animals that shared their world. The smoke-stained ceilings of their cave homes still carry the mark of thousands of fires that burned through countless winter nights. Their clothing was far more advanced than the simple animal skins we often imagine. They created fitted garments from deer, wolf, and bear fur, sewn together with sinew using bone needles. Some sites reveal evidence of layered clothing, an early version of the layering technique modern winter explorers still use today. They wore fitted boots, lined with grass for extra insulation, allowing them to hunt even in deep snow. Most impressive was their deep knowledge of plants and animals. They knew exactly which trees burned longest, which plants could heal wounds, and which animal fats provided the most energy during food-scarce months. This wasn't basic survival. It was mastery of their environment through knowledge passed down over thousands of generations. The real mystery isn't just how they survived, it's how they thrived. Cave art and burial sites show us these weren't desperate people merely clinging to life. They created beauty, honored their dead, and built communities that lasted for hundreds of thousands of years in conditions that would defeat our best survival experts today. Their story isn't one of primitive struggle, but of remarkable adaptation and resilience in the face of nature's greatest challenges. Close your eyes and picture a European winter during the Ice Age. The air is so cold it hurts to breathe. Snow falls constantly for days, piling higher than a tall man's head. The world becomes silent, except for the howling wind that cuts through even the thickest animal hides. This wasn't just cold. This was deadly cold that could freeze exposed skin in minutes. For Neanderthals, winter wasn't just a season to endure, but a dangerous enemy they faced year after year for thousands of generations. Imagine walking through knee-deep snow, searching for food when nothing grows and most animals have fled south. Your stomach aches with hunger as you haven't eaten in 2 days. Your fingers have lost feeling despite the fur mittens you wear. The sun barely rises above the horizon, giving only a few hours of weak light before darkness returns. This was daily life for Neanderthals during winter months that stretched longer than ours, in a world far colder than anything we experience today. Their bodies told the story of this harsh existence. When scientists study Neanderthal skeletons, they find signs of healed breaks and wounds that would kill or permanently disable modern humans. A Neanderthal man from Shanidar Cave lived for years with a crushed arm, damaged leg, and blindness in one eye. Injuries he survived with help from his group. Their bones were thicker and stronger than ours, their muscles attached in ways that gave them incredible strength. A Neanderthal child was as strong as a modern adult human. Their brains, contrary to old beliefs, were actually larger than ours. They weren't simple-minded. They were differently minded with more brain space devoted to vision, body control, and memory. This helped them track animal migration patterns across seasons and remember which plants could be dug from under snow for food or medicine. Their larger eyes captured more light during the brief winter days, giving them better vision in the dim conditions of northern winters. Food became the greatest challenge. In summer, they gathered berries, nuts, and plants, building up fat reserves for winter. When deep snow covered the ground, they relied on hunting, tracking animals through blizzards with skill that would amaze modern hunters. They didn't just chase prey. They planned hunts using the landscape, driving animals into narrow valleys or over cliffs, then taking apart the carcasses with stone tools shaped for specific purposes. Their homes reveal clever adaptations. In caves across Europe, archaeologists find living spaces organized around central hearths, with sleeping areas along walls where heat reflected best. Some sites show evidence of built structures inside caves, stone walls that blocked drafts or created separate spaces for different activities. In areas without caves, they built shelters using mammoth bones as frames, covered with hides and insulated with grass and mud. The greatest challenge wasn't just surviving one winter, but making it through generation after generation for 300,000 years. Each year brought the same deadly cycle: the slow fading of summer warmth, the first killing frost that withered plants, the deepening cold that forced them into shelters for longer periods, the desperate winter hunts, and finally the slow return of spring that began the cycle again. Yet through it all, they didn't merely survive. Their tools, art, and living spaces show a people who maintained their humanity even in the harshest conditions nature could create. As ice sheets grew thicker and pushed farther south, Neanderthals faced winters that grew longer and more severe with each passing century. They didn't panic or flee. They adapted. Their tools tell this story clearly. Early stone tools were simple and heavy, but as winters worsened, they created specialized tools for specific tasks. Imagine a Neanderthal woman sitting by firelight, carefully striking a stone core to create a perfect blade, thin enough to slice through tough winter hides, but strong enough not to break in freezing temperatures. These weren't random rocks, but carefully designed tools that changed as their needs changed. The way they used fire evolved too. Early sites show simple hearths, but later caves reveal complex fire management. They built stone circles that directed heat better. They positioned fires near cave walls that would hold warmth long after flames died down. They learned which woods burned hottest and which created the least smoke in enclosed spaces. Most importantly, they developed ways to carry fire when they moved, using slow-burning fungus that could hold an ember for days. Losing fire meant death, so they ensured it never went out. Their hunting skills grew more sophisticated as prey became scarcer. Bone tools appear in later sites. Needles for sewing tight-fitting clothes, awls for punching holes in thick hides, and spear points that could be replaced if broken during a hunt. They created sticky pine resin glue to attach stone points to wooden shafts, making weapons that could bring down animals as large as mammoths. Each improvement meant more food, warmer clothes, and a better chance of seeing another spring. Their social bonds grew stronger as winters grew harsher. The evidence lies in how they cared for their injured and elderly. At a site in La Chapelle-aux-Saints, archaeologists found the remains of an older Neanderthal man who had lost most of his teeth and suffered from painful arthritis. He couldn't chew tough foods or participate in hunts, yet he lived for years after these conditions developed. Someone brought him soft food. Someone helped him move around. Someone cared enough to keep him alive when he could no longer contribute to daily survival. This wasn't rare. Sites across Europe show similar evidence of care. Their understanding of plants deepened beyond simple food gathering. Dental plaque from Neanderthal teeth contains traces of plants with no food value but known medicinal properties. In a cave in Spain, chamomile and yarrow residue was found. Plants still used today to reduce fever and inflammation. They weren't just eating what they could find. They were selecting specific plants for specific purposes, developing an early form of medicine that helped them survive injuries and illnesses that would otherwise prove fatal during harsh winters. Perhaps most remarkable was their adaptation to changing light. Northern European winters meant up to 18 hours of darkness each day. While modern humans often suffer from mood disorders with such light deprivation, Neanderthals developed cultural adaptations. Evidence suggests they used animal fat lamps to extend light hours in caves. They created rituals around fire tending, passing knowledge through stories told during long, dark hours. Cave paintings show they maintained artistic expression, even in the darkest seasons, creating beauty when survival alone would have been achievement enough. As millennia passed, Neanderthals didn't simply maintain their culture, they refined it. Each generation added knowledge, improved techniques, and strengthened the practices that kept them alive. What began as basic survival became a complex cultural system perfectly attuned to the rhythms of European Ice Age winters, allowing them to thrive where other species could only perish. The last pure Neanderthals vanished from Europe around 40,000 years ago, yet their legacy surrounds us today. When you shiver in cold weather, or your body burns extra calories to stay warm, you may be experiencing the effects of Neanderthal genes. Scientists have discovered that many modern humans carry up to 4% Neanderthal DNA in their bodies. These ancient genes help some people's immune systems fight off certain diseases. They influence how our skin reacts to sunlight and how our bodies process foods. The people who survived the harshest cold for 300,000 years passed on survival traits that still protect many of us today. The caves where they once lived still hold their stories. In France's Chauvet Cave, a single footprint of a Neanderthal child walks alongside the paw print of a wolf, frozen in time from 50,000 years ago. Was the child hunting the wolf, or was the wolf stalking the child? We may never know, but this moment connects us directly to their world. The hearths where they cooked meals still contain ash and burned bones. The walls still show smoke stains from thousands of fires that warmed countless generations through long winter nights. Their tools reveal a surprising truth about these ancient relatives. They weren't primitive versions of us, but different kinds of humans adapted to a world we've never known. When archaeologists recreate their stone tools using the same techniques, they discover these weren't crude rocks, but precisely engineered implements requiring deep skill to make. Their spear points required understanding stone properties at a level few modern people possess. Their control of fire in cold environments showed problem-solving abilities equal to our own, just focused on different challenges. Their greatest gift to us might be perspective on our own relationship with climate change. Neanderthals faced natural climate shifts that happened slowly, over thousands of years, giving them time to adapt through countless generations. Today, we face human-caused climate changes that happen within decades, hundreds of times faster than anything Neanderthals experienced. Their story shows both the remarkable adaptability of humans and the time needed for true adaptation to occur. The mystery of their disappearance continues to teach us about human resilience. For years, scientists believed they simply couldn't compete with modern humans, who arrived in Europe around 45,000 years ago. New evidence suggests a more complex story. Some Neanderthals didn't disappear, but merged with modern human populations. Others may have been affected by massive volcanic eruptions that cooled the climate suddenly, faster than even their remarkable adaptations could handle. Their end reminds us that even the most successful adaptations have limits when changes come too quickly. When you next feel winter's chill, imagine standing in ancient Europe as snow begins to fall. Your breath forms clouds in the freezing air. Night is coming, and with it temperatures that would kill you without shelter. Yet you know exactly which cave provides the best protection from wind. You know which trees will burn longest in your fire. You know which animal furs will keep you warmest through the night. This knowledge, gathered over thousands of generations, is what allowed Neanderthals to call the harshest environments on Earth home for 300 millennia. The footprint of that Neanderthal child, preserved in ancient mud, connects us to these remarkable people who mastered winter in ways we've long forgotten. That single impression reminds us that they weren't just surviving. They were living full lives, raising children, creating art, and building communities in the face of challenges that would overwhelm most modern humans. Their story isn't one of primitive struggle, but of remarkable success, a 300,000-year testament to human adaptability in Earth's harshest environments.